Hey, what is up, guys? I'm here to give you a video. Now, last week, the WWE Network had something called um, a Vicky Guerrero tribute. Because as we know, last week, well, a couple weeks, now it was like a couple weeks ago on Raw, Vicky Guerrero ended up leaving Raw. She ended up leaving the WWE, which was cool. Um, And I figured I'd just go ahead and give my brief thoughts about this tribute that they made for her. It was called Excuse Me, a Cougar Countdown. So they did like a top 10 thing for Vicky Guerrero, and it was good. And they had people talking about it like AJ Lee, Summer Rae, John Cena, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Jerry the King Lawler, Edge, because he's worked with her a lot, Tamina Snuka. A lot of people talked about Vicky Guerrero. And they talked about how Vicky Guerrero knew how to get heat. And it was just her voice, because her voice sounded like fingernails scratching across a chalkboard. And it's true. Vicky Guerrero's voice does sound like that. When she would come out, it was awful. I think it was worse than Jillian Hall's singing. When Jillian Hall would sing, it would be like that. But Vicky Guerrero's voice was a lot worse. And I actually agree. So, Vicky Guerrero knew how to get heat. Now the first thing I want to talk about is Vicky Guerrero is I'm just gonna go down each top 10, and I remember the 10th one, and it was but they had names on them, each of them. And I'll get to the names in a second. Let me just pull it up. The first name was Vicky Guerrero's two left feet. Now, Vicky Guerrero, it's a dancing reference, means that you have two left feet, so you can't dance that well. And Vicky Guerrero could not dance at all. They showed a couple of clips of her dancing, and the first one, she didn't even dance. She had a dance off on Raw once, and she didn't even dance the first time. And she just pretty much flirted with Matt Striker, who was hosting it. And I remember Matt Striker, but he was released. And you could have voted whether or not you could have had the commentators that night. You could have had Booker T, Jerry the King Lawler, or Michael Cole. The crowd didn't, and the crowd voted Michael Cole. I don't remember the percentage, but Booker T got the lowest, which was weird. And Michael Cole ended up dancing, and he couldn't really dance either. But Michael Cole won because he got more boos, which is kind of strange. That's never happened before. So, yeah, Michael Cole won. And then, what else happened? And then they did one when she had one with Brodus Clay, and when she had her his Funkadactyls, obviously now being Cameron and Naomi. And she looked like she was having a seizure when she was doing it. It was awesome. And she ended up losing, obviously, but she was like dancing like she had a fucking seizure. It was fucking awesome. So I really liked that. And then they talk about her debut. It's called a crowning debut, because we know Vicky Guerrero had some matches in the WWE. And obviously they weren't good matches, because she's not really a competitor. But they were matches. My favorite one that she had, well, the debut one was when she fought Santina Marella, because obviously back then they were pretending that Santino Marella had a twin sister. Now they called her, and her name was Santina Marella. Could it not have been any more obvious? Obviously, it looked like Santino, but they really have to make it Santina, like, honestly. But they were having a feud, and Santina had won the Miss WrestleMania crown at WrestleMania 25 in a Battle Royal. And, nothing big happened. There was like a no qualification match, and she didn't do anything. Her nephew, Chavo Guerrero, tried to stick up for her, and she ended up fighting him off. And then William Regal just came, beat her up, and helped her win. I wasn't really a huge fan of the feud that they had. I honestly wasn't. So I forgot to mention how Vicky Guerrero came into the WWE. I was watching some of the Eddie Guerrero tribute, the DVD that they made, and she talked about how that when they dated, she didn't even like wrestling. Eddie Guerrero really brought her into wrestling, and Eddie Guerrero. Um, she came into the WWE in 2005 with Eddie Guerrero when they were doing the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio storyline. So that's how Vicky Guerrero came into the WWE. Now we're gonna get into the next one, and it is Latina Heat, because they talk about all the guys that Vicky Guerrero dated, and Vicky Guerrero dated a lot of guys. She was kind of like a slut. She kissed a lot of guys and dated them. She had a crush on Dolph Ziggler. She dated, well, let's go in order. She was, in real life, she was married to Eddie Guerrero. And then when Eddie died, the company obviously felt bad for her, so they gave her a job. Then she ended up with Edge, and that one really worked because it helped boost Edge and it helped make Vicky Guerrero. To be honest with you, though, I wonder if Vicky Guerrero, by the way, was going through some emotional trauma, and just kept eating away after Eddie passed away, because she was just gained so much weight, and she ended up losing, but she ended up losing weight now, so that's good. But she was with Edge, and I thought that was a good one. It helped boost Edge. It was good storylines, and they kept it going really longer than I thought. Maybe they didn't need to go as long as they did. And then obviously we know Edge dumped her because he was using her for a power, and then she quit being the GM of Raw, so she couldn't make him champion anymore. So then she ended up being with a new guy named Eric Escobar, who debuted on SmackDown in 2009. And I remember that, doing that in 2009. It was really memorable. So yeah, I remember that. It was vaguely, it wasn't that long. I guess they could have used Eric Escobar, but they didn't. So then she went with Dolph Ziggler. That went on for a while. I think sometimes she didn't let Dolph talk for Dolph. And then she ended up being with Jack Swagger at the same time. I forgot to mention that during the Edge one, she ended up being with Big Show, because Edge was off TV for a while. So she was with Big Show, but then she was with Jack Swagger, both Dolph and Swagger. Then then Jack Swagger lost a match to Dolph, so he wasn't a client with her anymore. And then Dolph ditched Vicky, and then that was really it for Vicky Guerrero. She became the GM afterwards. So she had a lot of guys, dated a lot of guys, and kissed a lot of them. So I thought that was cool. Wedding Crasher. Oh boy, I remember this one. Number 7. Yeah. I remember Wedding Crasher. I remember this because Vicky Guerrero and Edge had just got married. Edge had proposed to her in February. And they did a lot of fun stuff together. And we waited so long. They had called the marriage off. Then they called it. Then he put it back on. They got married. This was the reception party, and the whole SmackDown, I remember, was dedicated to the wedding. Everything they did was for the wedding. It was awesome stuff. They had a bouquet toss. Somebody won it, and then she had a match with that person. I think it was Sherry from Deuce and Domino. That was awesome. And then what happened after that? They had a match with the Hardys, and they attacked the Hardys. Had a match together, and they with just Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, and they ended up attacking them. She put Big Show in a handicap match against Vladimir Kozlov, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and the Great Khali. So a lot of memorable stuff with that. And then they were getting ready to satisfied to get the marriage. And then Triple H comes out, who was the WWE champion at the time. At the time, SmackDown and Raw was split, and WWE Championship was on SmackDown. And then Edge and him were kind of feuding. It was just kind of filler for Triple H, really. And then they played this clip with him and Alicia Fox, who at the time was the wedding planner, and they were going over the wedding, and Vicky Guerrero ended up giving Edge massages, because he has neck problems, so his neck hurts a lot. And then they talked about Vicky Guerrero's granny panties, and then they had a group. Edge had a group time called La Familia, consisted of Edge, Chava Guerrero, They had a bodyguard called Bam Neely, Kurt Hawkins, and Zack Ryder. Kurt Hawkins is not with the company anymore, neither is Bam Neely or Chavo Guerrero, so yeah, no one really lasted. And then Edge ended up, so they tried to attack him, but Triple H brought out a sledgehammer, and it showed a bit in the video of them kissing, which made it really awkward. It was awesome. I remember that really well. Okay. Then we had the People's Cougar. I don't really remember what this one was. I think it was just showing all the times maybe that everything bad happened to her. Like when she would run the obstacle course on NXT because they had obstacle courses and she fell. Just a lot of bad stuff when she got fired. Everything bad. When Beth Phoenix pulled her pants off. When Mickie James accidentally dumped food on her. Just everything bad that's ever happened to Vicky Guerrero. And then what else? No, that wasn't that one. It was actually, I remember, it's The Rock. And it was just her trashing The Rock. Sorry, my bad. I only watched it once. It was when her and The Rock had that little thing when Rock came back and was feuding with Punk and they had the Rock concert and stuff. So that's what it was. It was that. And she actually held her own, I guess, like kind of against The Rock, but really, The Rock couldn't say anything. Then It's a Dirty Job. That was when she had that hog pin match with Santina Marella. I've already covered that, really. You're excused. I think everything that's ever happened, like I said, everything that's ever happened with Vicky Guerrero when she folded, when Mae Young was going to give birth, all that stuff. Everything bad that ever happened to Vicky Guerrero. And then microphone mishap, mixtape. When every time she would say "excuse me," they did other ones too. Actually, I don't remember which one it was when the crowd couldn't even hear Vicky Guerrero because the crowd just hated her. It was in Houston, Texas, or Austin, Texas, and John Cena was after he had buried each member of Nexus, which consisted of Wade Barrett, Justin Gable, Michael Tarver, Skip Sheffield, Darren Young, David Otunga, Husky Harris, now known as Bray Wyatt, Michael McGillicuddy, now known as Curtis Axel, Skip Sheffield, now known as Ryback, and everyone, CM Punk, everyone. Well, this is the old Nexus. So this was after he had destroyed the Nexus and buried them, and Vicky Guerrero couldn't even talk. It was when Dolph was the Intercontinental Champion, and the crowd was so hateful that Vicky Guerrero couldn't talk. It was so funny. I loved it. And every time she would go to say something, the crowd would boo and boo and boo. And John Cena was like, "Come on, guys, let's let her say something. Let her say something." That was awesome. And then Jerry the King Lawler and John Cena made fun of Vicky Guerrero's weight. It was awesome shit. You're fired, you're hired. It showed every time she got hired and fired. When she became Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long's new assistant for SmackDown. When she became the GM after Teddy Long had his heart attack, which was kind of strange. I thought like Vicky Guerrero was behind it or something. And then when she became the GM of Raw, when she got when she quit being the GM of Raw, and then she got fired from being the GM of SmackDown again, and then she got fired from being the GM of Raw. Then got fired when she was with Stephanie McMahon. And obviously, number one was when when they had the match with Stephanie McMahon. So that's Vicky Guerrero. I know the video wasn't the best, but I really don't remember. But you can just watch it off the WWE Network. You got that free trial, which shows how desperate the WWE is to get the free trial. So use the free trial, or you can ask me for my account. I'll give it to you. Anyhow, I really did. I think Vicky Guerrero offered a lot to the wrestling company, and she did a lot for the WWE. She knew the business, so I think I like Vicky Guerrero in that sense. But there were times when I didn't like Vicky Guerrero when she was just in a role that she continued. But Vicky Guerrero did a lot for the WWE, and I think now she really is going to leave the WWE. She really is done. But we could be wrong. Never say never in the WWE. But that's pretty much it, guys. All I have to say is peace out.